तपाईहरु हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल। हरेक दिन हरेक बिहानी हामी फेरि पनि हजुरहरूमाझ देश विदेश र सँगसँगै विशेष अतिथि विशेष कुराकानी लिएर गुड मर्निङको बिहानीमा स्वागत गर्दछु। म हजुरहरूकै होस्ट प्रिया सिग्देल। हरेक बिहानी हजुरहरूले हामीलाई साथ दिन सक्नुहुन्छ बिहानै 8 देखि 9 बजेसम्म, आइतबारदेखि शुक्रबारसम्म कान्तिपुर टेलिभिजन मार्फत, र विश्वभर कतै हुनुहुन्छ भने हामीलाई साथ दिन चाहनुहुन्छ भने kantipurtv.com लगइन गरेर पनि हामीलाई साथ दिन सक्नुहुन्छ। आजको मितिको चर्चा गर्दाखेरि आज हामी 2083 सालमा छौँ, जेष्ठ 11 गते। आज भने हामी छौँ मेको 25 तारिकमा 2026 सोमबारको मन्डेको बिहानीमा छौँ, र तिथिको चर्चा गर्दा आज भने ज्येष्ठ शुक्ल दशमी तिथि रहेको छ। बिहानी हाम्रो लागि विशेष हुन्छ किनकि बिहानीको दिनले बिहानीको समयले आजको दिन कस्तो हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा धेरैजनाको निर्धारित हुन्छ। कतिजनालाई चाहिँ पत्र पत्रिका हेरिराख्दाखेरि, मलाई चाहिँ जब पनि म पत्रिका हेर्छु मलाई एउटा पेज हेर्दाखेरि अलिकति चाहिँ पोजिटिभ एनर्जी पाउँछु। त्यो भनेको चाहिँ पक्कै पनि राशिफल हरोस्कोपको साइड रहन्छ, र सँगसँगै चाहिँ यसमा आउने सुरुको गेम्सहरूदेखि लिएर क्रसवर्ड पजल जुन आउँछ त्यसले चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति चाहिँ बिहानीलाई चाहिँ अलिक प्रोडक्टिभ र सँगसँगै चाहिँ मेरो माइन्डलाई ट्रेन गराउनको लागि पनि यो चाहिँ मद्दत गरिरहेको हुन्छ। र काठमाडौँ पोस्टमा आएको आजको हरोस्कोपले चाहिँ जतिजना पनि यदि स्याजिटेरियस हुनुहुन्छ नोभेम्बर 22 टु डिसेम्बर 21, तपाईँलाई आज चाहिँ पोजिटिभ भाइब्सले चाहिँ आज हामीलाई एकदमै क्ल्यारिटी दिन्छ। आफ्नो जीवनमा गरिराख्ने कार्यहरूलाई त एकदम सहज बनाउँछ, तर हरेक चिज गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ पोजिटिभिटी देखाउनु पर्छ भनेर भनिएको छ। र सायद यो मेरो हरोस्कोपलाई भनिराख्दाखेरि सम्पूर्ण दर्शकलाई पनि महत्त्वपूर्ण मेसेज हुन्छ। लाइफमा सोमबारको बिहानी भर्खरै साता सकेको छ, र साता सकेर साताको सुरुवात भइराख्दाखेरि चाहिँ ओहो फेरि त्यही काम, त्यही प्रेसर, डेडलाइन्स, प्रोडक्टिभिटी छ, हरेक चिजलाई म्यानेज गर्नुपर्ने, संसारको भारै आफूमाथि छ भन्ने प्रेसरले हामीले कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ आफ्नो मेन्टल वेलबिङलाई बिर्सिरहेको हुन्छौँ। पोजिटिभ एनर्जी भने के हो त्यसको लागि विकेन्ड पर्खिरहेको हुन्छौँ। तर हरेक दिनको एउटा रिमाइन्डर गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट सम्पूर्ण दर्शकलाई बिहानीको समयदेखि नै हामीले ठिक छ, प्रेसर छ, वर्क छ, हरेक चिज छ, तर सँगसँगै आफ्नो यो मुस्कान पनि महत्त्वपूर्ण छ, जसको लागि कोही पनि केही कारक नभइकन आफ्नै लागि नै आफू त्यो कारण बन्नुपर्छ भनेर फिजिकल वेलबिङ, मेन्टल वेलबिङलाई पनि प्राथमिकता चाहिँ तपाईँहरूले दिनु भन्ने यो रिमाइन्डरसँग नै गुड मर्निङको यस बिहानीलाई सुरुवात गरौँ। र पक्कै पनि ऊर्जा उत्साह हामीलाई विभिन्न कुराहरूले दिन्छ, कतै खेलको चर्चा र कतै भने चाहिँ चलचित्रको चर्चा। र आज खेल र चलचित्र दुवैको नै चर्चा गरेर बिहानीलाई सुरुवात गरौँ। र खेलको चर्चा गरिराख्दाखेरि महिलाको जोसिलो जित र यो जितले दिने थप ऊर्जा हामी नेपाली खेलमा महिलाको भूमिका कतिसम्म बलियो भइसकेको छ एउटा उदाहरणसँगै यो खेलको जितसँग नै बिहानीलाई सुरुवात गरौँ। जहाँ चाहिँ मालदिभ्ससँग भएको खेलमा नेपालले मालदिभ्सलाई हराउँदै काबा भलिबलमा सेमी फाइनलमा नेपाल पुग्न सफल भएको छ। नेपालको यो जित भनेको पक्कै पनि हाम्रो लागि, काबाको लागि, काबा भलिबलबाट यो भइरहेको खेल निकै महत्त्वपूर्ण पनि छ। नेपालले लगातार यो दोस्रो जित आफ्नो लागि निकाल्न सफल भएको हो, जहाँ घरेलु भूमिका नै जारी भइरहेको काबा महिला भलिबल च्याम्पियनसिपको सेमिफाइनल स्थान नेपालले बनाउन सफल भएको छ। त्रिपुरेश्वर स्थित राष्ट्रिय खेलकुद परिषद राखेमाको कभर्ड हलमा आइतबार भएको खेलमा नेपालले मालदिभ्समाथि 3-0 को सोझो सेटमा जित निकाल्न सफल भएको थियो। समूह एमा को नेपालको तेस्रो खेलमा यो दोस्रो जित हो। भारतसँग 3-2 को सेटमा प्रतिस्पर्धात्मक हारबाट चाहिँ नेपालले काबा महिला भलिबल च्याम्पियनसिपको सुरुवात गरेको थियो। जित त्यति राम्रो थिएन नेपालको लागि, सुरुवात राम्रो हुन सकेन भारतसँगको हार, तर चार टोली सम्मिलित समूह ए को बाँकी 2 खेलको नतिजा आफ्नै बनाउँदै नेपालले सेमिफाइनल पुग्न सफल भएको छ। समूह विजयको तर्क टुङ्गो भने सोमबार हुने लिग चरणको अन्तिम खेलमा तय हुन्छ भने यस समूहको अन्तिम खेल चाहिँ भारत र किर्गिस्तानको प्रतिस्पर्धा हुनेछ। भारतले सोझो सेटमा हराएमा किर्गिस्तान यस समूहको सेमिफाइनलमा पुग्न सफल हुन्छ, तर सेमिफाइनलमा पुग्न भारतले भने 3-2 सेटको नतिजा पनि पर्याप्त हुने नै रहेको छ। 3 खेलबाट नेपाल 7 अङ्क सहित शीर्ष स्थानमा रहेको छ भने समूहमा दोस्रो स्थानमा भारतको 5, किर्गिस्तानको 3 अङ्क रहेको छ र मालदिभ्स भने अङ्कविहीन रहँदै समूह चरणबाट बाहिरिसकेको छ र यसअघि नै भएको नेपालको खेलमा हेर्ने हो भने इरानले यसअघि भएको खेलमा चाहिँ आज हिजो नै भएको खेलमा चाहिँ श्रीलङ्का र इरानको पनि भएको थियो जहाँ इरानले श्रीलङ्कालाई 25-16, 25-13 र 25-11 ले हराउन सफल भएको थियो। नेपालको यो लगातार दोस्रो जित भनेको नेपाली महिलाको लागि एकदमै बलियो कावा भलिबलको जब पनि कुरा गर्छौँ हजुरले गुड मर्निङ नेपालको विशेष एपिसोड्सहरूमा पनि नेपाली भलिबल प्लेयर्सहरूसँग उहाँहरूको कुराकानी उहाँहरूको जीवनीसँग पनि हाम्रो विशेष एपिसोड्सहरू पनि छन् जुन तपाईँले चाहिँ गएर प्रत्यक्ष युट्युबमा गएर हेर्न पनि सक्नुहुन्छ। पक्कै पनि नेपालमा खेल भनेको हाम्रो शान हो किनकि यसले देशको प्रतिनिधि बनेर देश कति बलियो छ खेल मार्फत पनि त्यो एउटा ठुलो माध्यम बनिरहेको हुन्छ नेपाल कति बलियो छ भनेर र त्यो स्ट्रेन्थ नेपाली महिला कावा भलिबलबाट अहिले हामीले देख्न सकिरहेको छौँ र तपाईँहरूले पनि साथ दिनको लागि दर्शकहरू जान सक्नुहुन्छ र पक्कै पनि खेलकुदमा हेर्ने हो भने जुन दर्शकको साथ र माया छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि नेपालले बारम्बार खेलमा जित निकाल्न सफल भइरहेको छ र चाहे त्यो जित होस् चाहे त्यो हार होस् नेपाली दर्शकको माया आफ्नो खेलाडीहरूलाई जहिले पनि हुनुपर्छ र खेलसँगको माया सँगसँगै खेलमा दिनुपर्ने इन्भेस्टमेन्ट रिसोर्सेस त्यतिकै नै महत्त्वपूर्ण पनि हुन्छ। नेपालले एकातिर खेल जितिराख्दाखेरि हरेक खेलकुदमा चाहिँ नेपालले पाउनुपर्ने पर्याप्त रकमहरू पर्याप्त पाउने बजेटहरूमा जहिले पनि विवाद भइ नै रहेको हुन्छ। सो यो जित सँगसँगै एउटा छोटो सानो रिमाइन्डर पनि हुनसक्छ कि खेलकुदमा खेलाडीले निकै राम्रो पर्फर्म गरिराख्दाखेरि कुनै पनि क्षेत्रमा खेलाडीहरूमाथि लगानी गर्न पनि त्यति नै महत्त्वपूर्ण हुन्छ किनकि त्यसले देशको आज र भोलिलाई एकदमै बलियो र धेरै युवाहरू जो चाहिँ नेपालको खेल क्षेत्रमा केही गर्छु भनिरहनु भएको छ उहाँको लागि बाटो खुलाउने काम भनेको देशको राज्यको सरकारको पक्कै पनि बन्छ र यही अपडेट सँगसँगै खेलबाट अर्कै नै नेपालको शान बनिरहेको र नेपाल अहिले ग्लोबली एकदमै चर्चामा भइरहेको नेपाली चलचित्र जुन क्यान्स फिल्म फेस्टिभलमा चर्चा भइरहेको छ एलिफेन्ट इन द फग्स त्यो फिल्मको पनि चर्चा गरौँ। क्यान्समा गएर नेपाली फिल्म रिप्रेजेन्ट हुनु त्यही ठुलो कुरा तर यो फिल्मले बनाइरहेको रेकर्डले गर्दाखेरि हामी आज प्राइड लिइराख्दाखेरि फेरि भोलि आउने थप समाचारले झनै प्राइड लिइरहेको छौँ। जब यो फिल्मको प्रिमियर भएको थियो क्यान्स फिल्म फेस्टिभलमा तब भने यो फिल्मले 7 देखि 8 मिनटसम्मको स्ट्यान्डिङ ओभेसन पाएको थियो जसको कारणले गर्दाखेरि यो फिल्मले धेरै चर्चा नेपाल मात्रै नभइकन सम्पूर्ण नेपालीहरू विश्वभरि जहाँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो त्यहाँ यो फिल्मको चर्चा भयो र आर्ट र क्रिएटिभिटी फिल्डमा काम गरिरहेका संसारका दिग्गजहरूले पनि एलिफेन्ट इन द फग्सको एकदमै राम्रो चर्चा गरे। फर इक्जाम्पल अनुराग कश्यपले पनि यो फिल्मलाई रिभ्यू दिएका छन् जसमा उहाँले निकै क्लियरली आफ्नो मुटु नै राखिदिएको छन् यो फिल्ममा जहाँ चाहिँ उहाँले यो मुटु देखिएको छ नेपाली फिल्मको भनेर उहाँले चाहिँ राम्रो रिभ्यू दिन सफल दिनुभएको थियो यो नेपाली फिल्मको लागि जसले पक्कै पनि थप ऊर्जा त दिएकै न छ र यसमा अझै विस्तृत कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नेपाल फिल्मले हेर्ने हो भने एलिफेन्ट इन द फग्सले चाहिँ क्यान्समा जुरी प्राइज पनि जित्न सफल भएको छ। हामी पहिल्यै नै गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट चाहिँ यो फिल्मको टिमलाई एकदमै धेरै बधाई दिन चाहन्छौँ। अनुराग कश्यपको यो जुन रिभ्यू छ यसले पक्कै पनि थप ऊर्जा दिन्छ। यो थप ऊर्जा दिने टिमको कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ फिल्म अविनाश विक्रम शाहले डिरेक्ट गर्नुभएको हो र यसले चाहिँ जुरी प्राइज वर्ल्ड्स प्रेस्टिजियस क्यान फिल्म फेस्टिभलमा जित्नु भएको हो र यो अवार्ड चाहिँ क्लोजिङ सेरोमनी अन्डर द सेकेन्ड इम्पोर्टेन्ट क्याटेगोरी अनसर्टेन रिगार्ड भनेर चाहिँ मेन कम्पिटिसन अफ क्यान्समा दिएको पनि हो। मेन अवार्ड यो क्याटेगोरी चाहिँ अनसर्टेन रिगार्ड प्राइज जुन चाहिँ सान्ड्रा वुल्नर्सको चाहिँ फिल्म एभ्री टाइमले जित्न सफल भएको हो र सेकेन्ड मेन अवार्ड जुरी प्राइज चाहिँ नेपाली फिल्मले जितेको हो। हामीले हेर्ने हो भने अविनाश विक्रम शाहको निर्देशित नेपाली फिल्म जुन रहेको छ एलिफेन्ट्स इन द फगले चाहिँ क्यान फिल्म फेस्टिभलमा हामीले हेर्ने हो भने फिल्मले चाहिँ हात्तीको आक्रमणबाट आक्रान्त बस्तीमा बस्ने एक परिवारको कथा र लैङ्गिक अल्पसङ्ख्यक समुदायको प्रतिनिधित्व प्रस्तुत पनि गरिएको छ र यो ऐतिहासिक जितले नेपाली सिनेमा क्षेत्रलाई चाहिँ अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय पहिचान र गौरवले थप उचाइमा पनि पुर्याएको छ। यो फिल्मको एक्ट्रेस पुष्पा थिङले चाहिँ जब चाहिँ यो अवार्डलाई प्रेजेन्ट गरिएको थियो आफ्नो नेपालको राष्ट्रिय झन्डालाई चाहिँ उहाँले चाहिँ इमिडिएटली नै आफूले जितिसकेपछि चाहिँ लहराउनु पनि भएको थियो र यो फिल्मले धेरै चर्चा पाइराख्दाखेरि फेरि पनि हामी नेपाली हुनमा गर्व हुनुपर्ने कति धेरै कुरा छ तर यो गर्व हुनुपर्ने कुराको यात्रामा हामी कतिलाई साथ दिइरहेको छौँ भन्ने कुराको पनि सँगसँगै चाहिँ कुरा पनि उठ्छ र यो हामी गुड मर्निङ नेपाल मार्फत उठाउन चाहन्छौँ। यहाँ हामीले क्यान फिल्म फेस्टिभलमा नेपालको झन्डा लहरिरहँदाखेरि एउटा नेपाली फिल्म अगाडि आइराख्दाखेरि नेपाली निर्देशनले गरेको यस्तो चमत्कार जस्तै नै हामीलाई फिल भइराख्दाखेरि प्राइड दिइराख्दाखेरि यसको यात्रा पनि पक्कै पनि त्यति सहज थिएन। यसको प्रोसेस चाहिँ त्यति नै गाह्रो रहेको थियो। नेपाली फिल्महरू बारम्बार विवादमा आइरहन्छन् तर त्यसमा पाउनुपर्ने साथ भने कहिले पनि नपाइरहेको अवस्था पनि देख्छौँ। फेरि पनि यहाँ ध्यान कसको हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि सरकारको हुनुपर्छ, राज्यको पनि हुनुपर्छ। एउटा फिल्मको प्रोसेस क्रिएटिभ सेक्टरलाई लुप हुन नदिनको लागि अझै युवाहरूको प्रोत्साहन यसरी नै बढाउनको लागि नै प्राथमिकता त्यसरी नै दिन सक्यो भने यस्ता त कति क्याटेगोरीमा कति अवार्ड नेपालीहरूले ल्याउन सक्छन् भन्ने उदाहरण त हामीले कैयौँ देखिसकेको छौँ। र क्यान्सको यो जितमा नेपालले पाउनुको यो जितमा एलिफेन्ट इन द फक्सको इन्टायर टिमलाई हामी गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट फेरि पनि धेरै बधाई दिन चाहन्छौँ। थ्याङ्क यू फर रेजिङ नेपाल्स फ्ल्याग भेरी भेरी हाई। र यही सँगसँगै हामीले हेर्ने हो भने देशको अपडेट हेर्ने हो भने हिट वेभले गर्दाखेरि तराईमा भने एकदमै गर्मीको कारणले गर्दाखेरि भेरी अस्पतालदेखि विभिन्न अस्पतालहरूमा त्यत्तिकै नै अहिले भनेको चाहिँ गर्मीकै कारणले गर्दा विभिन्न तरिकाले गर्दा बिरामी हुने स्पेसली बालबालिका र ज्येष्ठ नागरिकलाई त्यतिकै गाह्रो भइरहेको अवस्था पनि रहेको छ। गर्मी व्यापक रूपले बढिरहेको र गर्मीकै कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीलाई विभिन्न तरिकाले समस्या भइरहेको हुन्छ। कृषि क्षेत्रमा हेर्ने हो भने वातावरणीय पक्ष हेर्ने हो भने हरेक पक्षमा हेर्ने हो भने हामीले यही गर्मी यही मौसमको एकदमै धेरै चेन्जिङ प्याटर्न्सले गर्दाखेरि पनि हामीले धेरै कुरा सहनु परिरहेका हुन्छन्। र यस्तै कुरामा आज हामी एकदमै धेरै चर्चा पनि गर्नुपर्नेछ। नेपालको मात्रै कन्टेक्स्टमा होइन, नेपालमै बसेर पनि हामीले काम गरिराख्दाखेरि जलवायु परिवर्तनको कारणले नै या कृषि क्षेत्रमा काम गर्छु भनिराख्दाखेरि फुड सिक्योरिटीमा काम गर्छु भनिराख्दाखेरि हरेक अपर्च्युनिटी नेपालमा यथावा अपर्च्युनिटी छ तर हरेकमा काम गर्छु भनिराख्दाखेरि पनि च्यालेन्जेस के छ, हामीसँग कति राम्रो गरि पनि रहेको छौँ, कति चिज अझै गर्न बाँकी नै छ भन्ने कुरा पर्सपेक्ट गर्नको लागि आज हामीसँग एकदम विशेष अतिथि हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँलाई कार्यक्रममा स्वागत गर्छौँ तर यो छोटो ब्रेकपछि।
Brought to you by Dabur Red Toothpaste. Problemsलाई राख्छ कोसौं टाढा।
Mom, फेरि
अलिअलि दुख्या हो, डोन्ट वरी, इग्नोर इट।
सानो डेन्टल प्रब्लम्सलाई पनि इग्नोर होइन, टाढा राख्नुहोस्। डाबर रेड पेस्टले 7 डेन्टल प्रब्लम्ससँग लड्नको लागि डाबर रेड पेस्ट प्रब्लम्सलाई राख्छ कोसौं टाढा।
The biggest cricket league in the world. Full on entertainment. Clash of the heavyweights. An absolute demolition.
This broadcast is brought to you by
Extreme Energy Drink.
Powered by
Laminar is vitrified. Now NS certified.
हरेक घर हरेक निर्माणको लागि मङ्गलम पाइप्स, ढुक्क जिन्दगी भर।
Driven by Health Partner.
सही खोजौं, शुद्ध रोजौं। मुटु चाहिन्छ, मुटु।
Abroad Study Partner.
विदेश पढ्न जाने तपाईको चाहना पूरा गर्छ KIC ले। आउने हैन त?
Life Insurance Partner.
उपचार खर्च अब सिटिजन लाइफले गर्छ। हेलो, सिटिजन लाइफ हो?
Hospital Partner.
फ्रन्टलाइन अस्पताल हजुरहरूका लागि उत्तम हेरचाह हाम्रो प्रतिबद्धता।
Exclusively marketed by AD Release. Promotions by Media Sense.
अब हल्ला होइन, तथ्य, प्रश्न मात्र होइन, समाधान पनि। अब को बोल्यो होइन, के बदलियो। अब खबर व्यापार मात्र होइन, जिम्मेवारी पनि। हेडलाइन भन्दा पर, कोलाहल भन्दा माथि, हरेक प्रश्नको जवाफ खोज्दै, हरेक जवाफलाई प्रश्न गर्दै। Brought to you by Dabur Red Toothpaste. Problemsलाई राख्छ कोसौं टाढा।
ब्रेकपछि फेरि स्वागत छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा। ब्रेकमा जानु अघि मैले अलिकति चर्चा गरिसकेँ। नेपाल मात्रै होइन, विश्व नै हामी अहिले यो बदलिरहेको वेदर प्याटर्न्सदेखि लिएर हरेक चिजको इम्प्याक्ट भनेको इन्टायर इकोसिस्टममा नै भइरहेको हुन्छ। र इकोसिस्टमको ब्यालेन्स गर्नको लागि हामीले कसरी काम गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुराको बारेमा त गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा सायदै हामीले सस्टेनेबिलिटीका कुरा एस्पेक्ट्सहरूलाई पछि राखेको छैनौँ। एकदम यसलाई प्राथमिकता राखेर नै यसलाई अघि पनि बढाइरहेको छौँ। तर यसरी नै हामीले कुराकानी गरिराख्दाखेरि यसमा व्यापक तरिकाले काम गरिरहनु भएको आज यस्तै विशेष अतिथि हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ, जो नेपालको लागि मात्रै होइन विभिन्न ठाउँमा गएर उहाँले गरिरहनु भएको कामको अलिकति विस्तृत चर्चा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ उहाँले हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ विभिन्न ठाउँमा चाहिँ हाम्रो नेपालको अहिले प्रतिनिधि एफओ रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ सिन्स 2021देखि नेपालको लिडरसिप लिएर काम गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ, जहाँ उहाँले यो अपोइन्टमेन्टभन्दा अगाडि पनि उहाँले चाहिँ पपुवा न्यू गिनियादेखि लिएर विभिन्न विश्वव्यापी तरिकामा गएर चाहिँ एफओ रिलेटेड कामहरूलाई प्राथमिकतामा राखेर हामीले फुड एग्रिकल्चरको कुरा गरिराख्दाखेरि यसको अपर्च्युनिटिज, यसको लागि प्राथमिकता कति राख्नुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ उहाँले निकै वर्षदेखि कार्य पनि गरिरहनु भएको छ। आज हामीसँग त्यस्तै विशेष अतिथि पनि हुनुहुन्छ जसले आफ्नो दशकभन्दा लामो काम फुड सिक्योरिटी, एग्रिकल्चर, रुरल डेभलपमेन्ट, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस म्यानेजमेन्ट, क्लाइमेट चेन्ज, डिजास्टर रिस्क रिडक्सन, इमर्जेन्सी कोअर्डिनेसनलाई प्राथमिकतामा राखेर जुन चाहिँ एफओ र सँगसँगै युएनको चाहिँ अरू एजेन्सी जस्तै एसिया पेसिफिकसँग काम गरेर सँगसँगै क्यारिबियनमा पनि हेर्ने हो भने उहाँले विभिन्न तरिकाले आफ्नो भूमिकालाई निकै राम्ररी कार्य गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। यो इन्ट्रोडक्सन यति लामो भइसकेपछि तपाईँले पक्कै पनि भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ आज हामी एक एक्सपर्टसँग कुरा गर्दैछौँ। उहाँलाई कार्यक्रममा स्वागत गरौँ। मिस्टर केन शिमिजु, वेलकम टु गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
Thank you.
It was a very long introduction of yours that I was giving. So just imagine your introduction is a paragraph long. Definitely your experience is way more than that. So in this short span of time, we'll definitely try to cover your experience as well. So here in Nepal, since 2021, if I'm right, how is the experience so far working in Nepal?
Yes, the experience working in Nepal has been extremely rewarding, exciting. You know, Nepal is such a diverse country with, well, first of all, the landscape is amazing. And, you know, culturally, there are several, various, ethnic groups, also different kinds of religion. The food is fantastic. But one common thread is that the people in Nepal are always very welcoming, hospitable, and nice. So it's been absolutely amazing, and I have had the pleasure of traveling to all parts of Nepal.
Wow.
Yeah, so it has been. But of course, I work in development, so I see a lot of the challenges that Nepal faces. So in that kind of sense, that it's been exciting and rewarding, but I also see many development issues that needs to be addressed.
Yes, so when you mention about Nepal, yes, we are definitely most hospitable people. Before even the mountains, we would like to say we are more hospitable. That is also how the world should look at Nepal as well. So you just mentioned about the work that you are doing. It's of course rewarding. At times it is very challenging, and you are also working to make a future that is also very sustainable at the same time as well. So many of our audio viewers might not know about FAO. So would you like to start with explaining with what is FAO and what is its work in Nepal and around the world?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. So FAO stands for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. It was actually established in 1945. FAO headquarters is actually in Rome, Italy. And for Asia, we have a regional office for Asia and the Pacific that is based in Bangkok. FAO in Nepal started in 1951. So we are one of the first United Nations agency to commence operations in Nepal. So FAO is a technical agency. We are a knowledge agency. Since 1951, we have been supporting the government and various partner stakeholders to strengthen capacities for strengthening agricultural production, enhancing food and nutrition security, Also promoting climate resilient natural resources management, all with the objective of ending hunger, reducing malnutrition, and also promoting sustainable and resilient agriculture, ensuring food security for all people, so everybody has access to safe and nutritious food at all times. So that's the kind of mission and mandate of FAO. And as I mentioned, we have been working in Nepal for more than 70 years, working in all parts of the country.
Yes, and when you said that, we'll talk about the global context a little later in the episode, but I'd like to start with Nepal.
Sure, yes.
How do you see the food and agriculture's work that is happening in Nepal? What are the challenges or what are the opportunities? And overall, how you summarize the food and agriculture situation here in Nepal?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me start a little bit about the challenges and, well, both the potential. So I believe that, and I think everyone agrees, that Nepal has great potential for agriculture and great potential to increase agricultural production and productivity. However, the challenges are that a lot of the agriculture, most of the agriculture in Nepal is subsistence based, and the very also a small scale and also fragmented. So land plots and sizes are very small, fragmented. Farmers are mostly smallholder farmers, and it's mostly subsistence agriculture. And the agriculture productivity and production rate is not very high. Agriculture depends a lot on in Nepal on rain-fed agriculture, so you don't have sufficient irrigation systems all the time, and you need water for agriculture. And then we also have issues of agricultural labor shortages, because as you are aware, a lot of the young men are not in the villages working in agriculture. They are either in the cities or outside of Nepal looking for jobs. So actually the onus of supporting subsistence agriculture, it falls on women who already have so many things to do at the household level. No, they have to take care of their families, do other tasks, and then engage in agriculture. So when the agriculture production systems are largely subsistence based, they're not very productive or commercial, and that means not many people want to engage in that, and that has an impact on the food self-sufficiency of Nepal. And we have a situation for like staple crops like rice. There is a growing dependence on import of staple rice. No? So that's one challenge. The second challenge is the challenge of, we call it the triple planetary crisis, the impacts of climate change, environmental pollution, and loss of biodiversity. These impacts all have negative consequences on agriculture production. Climate change, when the rainfall patterns change, it very negatively affects agriculture production, yield, and productivity.
There are many things and many layers, and it can be as challenging to work in the field, as challenging to be working and collaborating as well. There are many layers. So as you mentioned about challenges, I would like to also highlight on 2 points that you just highlighted. One is lots of youths are leaving the country, where there is in one side we talk about Nepal being an agriculture country, but there are no young people. Lots of them are dependent on migration. And women, it's burdening women at the same time to take care of the household, to field, to everything. So how you look this challenge in FAO's perspective, and how you think that these challenges can be mitigated in Nepal, as we talk about especially these two challenges?
Of course, so we are working on it from various angles. We have programs where we try to capacitate the rural women who are already engaged in agriculture. So we have programs where we support them in making agriculture or agribusiness more sustainable and viable, or sometimes we provide them with mechanization, small-scale mechanization, to reduce the drudgery of agriculture to save time. But we also have programs where we focus on providing rural women with leadership skills, so they can actually become agents of change. We have gender transformative approaches, and this is basically to strengthen the leadership and capacity of women already working in agriculture, so their agricultural production systems become more productive, resilient, and also participatory, and also inclusive, and also empowering. So that's one thing. Then we are also working on catalyzing agricultural investment, trying to make agriculture transition from subsistence to commercial agriculture. So what we're trying to do is to support, to catalyze investment for priority agricultural commodities, like niche commodities, where Nepal has a chance to compete, both within the domestic market and international market. So we have programs where we promote agri-entrepreneurship, and where we are also, we have programs where we're trying to engage more young people through, for example, digital agricultural innovation. We also have a youth network called the World Food Forum Nepal Youth Chapter, where we have representation in all provinces. We also have local youth teams, and we have more than 1,000 members. So through this youth network, we are trying to engage more people in agriculture. Culture. So we train, provide training on climate resilient agricultural technology. We also try to support them on incubation, business management.
So there are many plans and projects that FA is already working on and trying to make an impact. And definitely in short span of time to work on so many gaps is definitely not possible, but there are definitely huge potentials. And when we talk about potentials, there are different ways of indicators that might be affecting this kind of scenarios as well. And we will be talking about those exact scenarios, but after this short break.
Brought to you by Dabur Red Toothpaste. Problems like Raksa Kosau Tada.
यो खम्बिया काका भतिजलाई तलाउन सकिएन सकिन्छ किन नसक्नु प्रयोग नगरे मात्रै हो सत्ता पल्टाउने दिमाग छ मसँग पहिला कुर्छस्
होइन सै कमाएर ल्याएको खै त्यतिकै घरबार चल्छ हो यो उमेरमा पनि फुल दिन्छन् रसोटी
वृद्ध भत्ता नि दिनुहुन्थ्यो नि तर के गर्नु आउने बेलै भएको छैन
बेला त भयो नि के गर्नु हाम्रो छोरी बिहा गर्न जाने भन्दा पनि लिएर आउने खालकी परी
लु भयो अहिले केटाहरू हुन् त्यसैले लुरु त आउन पनि पर्यो नि
उनीहरू चाहिँ हाम्रो घरमा आउनु नहुने मन लागे घर चाहिँ बस्छन् नत्र बाटो कस्छन् कस्छन् नकसे कस्दैन यो घर त्यो घर यसो घर उसो घरमा नोकर्ने हो कि काका छोडो कि श्रीमती
यता श्रीमती उता काका ए बाबा के गरौँ म
Brought to you by Dabur Red Toothpaste. Problems like Raksa Kosau Tada.
ब्रेकपछि फेरि स्वागत छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा र ब्रेकमा जानु अघि हामीले एफएओ नेपालले नेपालमा मात्रै नभइकन विश्वव्यापी तरिकाले नै कसरी काम गरिरहेको छ स्पेशली एग्रिकल्चर सेक्टरमा किनभने यो भनेको फुड सिक्योरिटीसँग जोडिएको छ र कृषि बिना नै हामीले कसरी खाद्यान्नलाई चाहिँ पर्याप्त गर्छौँ भन्ने कुरा पक्कै पनि त्यो गर्न सम्भव नै छैन र यसकै च्यालेन्जेसको बारेमा कुरा गर्नको लागि यसकै बारेमा धेरै चर्चा गर्नलाई आज हाम्रो अतिथि हुनुहुन्छ मिस्टर शिमिजु उहाँलाई कार्यक्रममा फेरि पनि वुड लाइक टु वेलकम यू इन गुड मर्निङ नेपाल नाउ आफ्टर दिस ब्रेक we were having a conversation before the break about the challenges about women especially on one aspect youth being involved with agriculture and women who are already in the field of agriculture is the context only in Nepal or globally you see women farmers are have to take care of agriculture way more than men.
Yes, this is not just in Nepal. Globally, more than 40% of the agricultural workforce is women, and this is why I also wanted to mention to you that the year 2026 has been declared as the International Year of the Women Farmer. So it is not just in Nepal. Women contribute substantively to agricultural value chain development. So it's not just in the production, it's also in the processing, the marketing, and also in the consumption. So women are very active leaders in agri-food systems. and which this is why we want to celebrate.
Yes,
their
and while we're
achievements.
celebrating
Yes.
this year, it also adds the value of recognition at one aspect. In the other aspect, it also highlights about investing on women in agriculture as
Yes.
well. So in Nepal, what is the situation? How much we are ready to invest in women in agriculture? How much we are recognizing women farmers?
Well, I think that the majority of the subsistence agriculture workforce is women. So there is already an understanding that women contribute significantly to agriculture in Nepal. However, compared to men, they still face barriers in accessing the finance or technology or the agricultural technology to become, let's say, the business managers. No, so they actually contribute to agriculture, but they are not often recognized as the change makers or leaders in agri-food systems. So this is what we are trying to, we're trying to change this perception,
Yes.
Because there are actually a lot of women lead farmers or agri-entrepreneurs that are very active, but I don't think there is a recognition of that. And we also need to promote or create an ecosystem or environment where more women farmers can, be successful as, leaders, no?
Yes,
as
definitely.
CEOs or as heads of, these enterprises, no, to lead, because they are the ones actually who are doing the heavy lifting.
Yes, and
if I may.
that is really
Yes.
important to be
Yes.
recognized and
Yes.
invest, and they are also equally as contributing to the growth of Nepal's economy and around the world.
Definitely.
And it's high time we recognize and we invest in them,
definitely.
and everybody's working accordingly.
Exactly.
So when we talk about this,
Yes.
FAO and your work also has been engaging with communities, engaging with such women, engaging with lots of people in the field. So how they respond to working with organization, how they respond to working, is it easy or not to be working with people on the field? How is that experiences for you?
Well, I think working with communities requires, building trust, no? Because that starts by engaging. So it's very important that you have participatory processes. For example, in FAO, we use a kind of methodology called farmer field schools. It's a participatory type of agriculture extension and training. But, it all starts out by, engaging the community, listening to the community, rather than imposing your ideas and trying to, capacitate them or co-create, ideas and co-implement initiatives. And that builds trust and confidence. And once you have a kind of, let's say, a relationship or trust capital, that, then becomes the foundation for you to work with communities. And they become more receptive, for example, to the climate resilient technologies that we are trying to promote. Or for example, one of the successful interventions in Nepal that FAO has been supporting is this custom hiring, custom service hiring centers, where we actually lend agricultural machinery, and that becomes a business. And many of these businesses are women-led. So we've had these, kinds of approaches. So it takes time. Huh? So it's not an overnight,
So people are very welcoming, the communities are welcoming when they want to do something on the field of anyone who's trying to work on the field of agriculture, because it's directly connected with food security.
Yes.
How you see the food security situation in Nepal and globally, where we are?
Well, I think that, globally, that there is expected increase in global population growth. So we also know that there is going to be, increases required in agriculture production and productivity. However, that also means that, there could be potential increases in greenhouse gas emissions. No? So it's very important to strike that balance between, supporting agricultural production but also maintaining, environmental sustainability. Coming to the context of Nepal, as I mentioned earlier, there is growing dependence on imports for staple crops. And as you know, the population is increasing. So again, Nepal has that challenge of having to, strengthen domestic production capacities to meet the, the food demand of the growing population. But at the same time, Nepal is very, vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. So we need to have climate resilient agricultural technologies.
I was about to come there as well,
Mhm.
because we talk about, when we talk, even globally, when we talk about food security, then we talk about agriculture, and then comes the impact of the climate change, which is very visible everywhere around the world. Maybe Nepal's contribution may be very less to climate change, but we are very vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. So where do you see how this is impacting climate change? Because of climate change, there's droughts, there's floods, there is so many issues.
Exactly.
And how this is making the work of FAO difficult, or how challenging it is, and how you are trying to mitigate with the problems that is raised by climate change.
Well, the first point is that, as I said earlier, that a lot of agriculture production in Nepal depends on rain-fed agriculture. So when climate change, one of the impacts of climate change is that the rainfall patterns change. And as you were saying, then you have more increased occurrences of drought, or then suddenly you have flooding. No, so then agriculture becomes very difficult. And also with climate change, one of the other things that we are seeing is a rise in the increase of plant and pests, and also animal diseases. Unfortunately, climate change is accelerating the occurrence of plant diseases and also animal diseases, which negatively affects livestock, production systems, and also plant production systems. So this is one thing. And of course, in the mountain communities, the glaciers are melting. So you have cases like glacial lake outburst floods that also impact mountain communities. So all of this is, making, agricultural, has a very negative effect on agricultural production.
Yes, so it's very vulnerable at the
Yes,
time
very
as well,
vulnerable,
because
very vulnerable.
when we talk about infrastructure development, it also needs to be balanced with how the climate changes threats are, how we are coping up with it.
Yes.
So when we talk about it, many urban areas, I'd like to ask this question, not fully understand the importance of rangelands and pastoralist communities. What does this mean, and why it should matter to people, especially staying in urban places?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And I also wanted to again highlight that year 2026 is also the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. So rangelands, which includes grasslands and pastures and mountain rangelands, all of that is very important to a country like Nepal, because rangelands communities, they promote or support biodiversity and soil conservation. They also contribute to sustainable livestock management, and they also contribute to, for example, water regulation. So these rangelands communities actually provide a lot of ecosystem services that we actually all benefit from. So it's very important to actually protect that. And also in the context of Nepal, what is also important to recognize is that these rangeland communities are also custodians of rich cultural heritage and tradition, like the yak herders, or you have many communities in Nepal that kind of preserve their very traditional way of life. So it's in that sense, it's also very important to recognize their contribution. And this is what the International Year is trying to do. And this is why I also wanted to mention that starting from tomorrow, we are going to be collaborating with ICIMOD, the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, which is a sub-regional organization based in Kathmandu that works on sustainable mountain development.
ICIMOD is definitely a familiar name.
Yeah, so together with ICIMOD, we will have a global gathering of pastoralist women from tomorrow, the 26th of May, to the 29th of May. And the idea is to have, a global collective action on how we can promote sustainable rangeland management, biodiversity and soil conservation, and ecosystem restoration, but at the same time, making sure that we empower the herders and the people, communities that actually are contributing to the preservation of rangelands, and especially in this context, the women herders.
Yes. So why you just highlighted the importance of it. Also, I want to ask this: the people in the Himalayan, living in the Himalayan communities or the mountains, they are, as you just mentioned, they are very dependent on the traditional way of grazing or how they are building their life through work. So, do you think now their lives are also at a risk? It's more at a risk or not?
Yes. So again, in that sense, they're at the risk of. We talked about the impacts of climate change, but also urbanization and also a lot of out-migration. No, unfortunately, a lot of the young people in these communities are also migrating to the cities or outside, Nepal. So again, that is, resulting in shortages of labor and, shortage of people who are interested in preserving this traditional way of life, and that, of course, results in, I think, a loss of.
So, what do you think the lessons can be learned from especially from indigenous and pastoralist communities when we talk about sustainable living and land management? What we can learn from them?
Well, first of all, there needs to, we need to recognize that a lot of the indigenous knowledge and practices are already climate resilient. Now, this is not new technology. It's actually age-old wisdom we have not recognized. So a lot of the indigenous food systems or the, ecosystems restoration type of activities they already have can actually be very useful in mitigating the impacts and effects of climate change. No, so first it's very important to actually recognize and document that. No, and also to make sure that that kind of knowledge is preserved and also shared with others. No,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yes,
there are many ways to learn from the history. From the ancient time as well, the ages as well. They already taught us how to be climate resilient. It's all about how we adapt. And when we talk about adaptation, you just mentioned about a collaboration that you're going to do with EC Mode.
Yes.
So in the process of working in such sector, how much collaborations or having partner as such is important in Nepal or for FOAO?
Yeah, well, partnership is always important because, agri-food systems transformation cannot be achieved, by just FAO. First, we, need the support of the government and also, both at the federal, provincial, local level. We also need a support of, partners like ICIMOD. We also need to work with private and civil sector. No? Private sector investment is also, very important in making sure that, agriculture and agribusiness enterprises transition from subsistence to commercial agriculture because we need investment, no? Private sector investment in agriculture. We also need to make sure that civil society, community organizations, NGOs, civil society organizations are involved because we need to make sure that, the agricultural production systems in Nepal are also inclusive and also, sustainable and resilient, no? Not just, benefiting the interests of the private sector. So you actually need, and we also, a very important role is the role of the media.
Yes.
Because a lot of what we discuss, not everyone may be, familiar with. So we need the, support of all partners. And agri-food systems transformation in itself is a very multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary approach where we recognize that FAO or agricultural agencies alone cannot transform agriculture, the agri-food system sector. We need to take kind of a whole of agri-value chain approach and work collectively, work together to
so there are many layers, there are many collaboration and partners, and everybody's initiation matters.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's participation.
We're talking about a sustainable world where we can be sufficient when we talk about food.
Yes.
And when we talk about agriculture in itself, do you think, in your experience, we have enough innovation, entrepreneurship that is happening in Nepal to grow agriculture sector?
Yes, there is a lot of innovation, and there is a lot of young people working in agricultural innovation, especially in the area of digital agricultural tools. So now, everyone has, access to a mobile phone. So, and also a lot of the agriculture information systems are digitized, no? And we also have, for example, drone technology. So, and of course, artificial intelligence. So there are a lot of young people who are working in the agri-tech space, and there is great, opportunities for application. For example, you can have agro-advisory systems. You know, we talked about the impacts of climate change, but now we have the technology to be able to monitor and also, you know, forecast and predict some of the changes in rainfall or weather patterns. No, we also have, you know, digitized maps and also GIS and all of this, and drones. All of this technology to, you know, help map the let's say hotspots or, you know, potential areas where could be increased risks for flooding and or drought. So we have all of this technology. We have also mobile applications.
Is it enough?
I would say it is enough. It's enough, but what would be, I think, you know, maybe useful is to kind of have a coordinated approach, no? Because there's a lot of young people who are kind of experimenting with this kind of, you know, technology. But we all need to, you know, maybe, you know, have a little bit of a coordinated approach.
Yeah, so we need to can fill the gap.
Yes, and of course, having said that, when you know, when you ask me that question, there is also the digital, you know, gap, no, the divide between the rural and urban areas. So, you know, in some remote rural communities, you know, I said everybody has access to, you know, a mobile phone, but maybe that is not necessarily the case in remote communities, or the kind of digital access that you know, they have may be quite different in the sense that, you know, not everyone is proficient or familiar with artificial intelligence, no?
Definitely.
So, you know, there is different variances in digital, you know, literacy also.
We are
and
practicing the innovation entrepreneurship, but definitely it's not enough. We need more.
Yeah.
Again, and it comes to the answer where you answered before as well. The collaboration and partnership, that's why also matters.
I also
fill in
want
the gap.
I don't want to be interrupting you, but I also want, because I forgot to say something important, is that we also need a lot of investment in this space. We need a lot of investment.
I was about to come there.
Okay,
how we can make Nepal self-reliant when you talk how the private sector, it's the investment, or how we can make Nepal self-reliant, because you mentioned earlier in the interview as well that we are very dependent on imports. So how we can make ourselves self-reliant?
Yeah, so because, you know, to make you know, agriculture and agribusiness successful, I think it's good to have kind of a, you know, again, a collective or coordinated approach, you know, between, you know, the private sector and institutions like, you know, FAO and the government. So public-private partnerships is a good way to de-risk agricultural investments, no? Because of the impacts of climate change, or, you know, all of these, you know, issues, or currently we have this Middle Eastern crisis that is also, you know, increasing the cost of chemical fertilizers, agriculture input, fuel and transport costs. So to mitigate, you know, against these climate and also external economic shocks, it's good to have a, you know, a public-private sector partnership approach, also with agencies, development partners like FAO, kind of facilitating that partnership, because you need private sector, you know, investment and capital, but at the same time, you need the government to make sure that there is a policy environment that makes, you know, agribusinesses, you know, easy to, you know, set up, or, you know, we need an environment, ecosystem where entrepreneurs who want to work in agriculture, that they can have easier access to, you know, registering their agribusiness, accessing capital, or also accessing agricultural technologies, no, and expertise, or even land. Yeah.
Yes.
What is for agriculture? What is most important is land. So again, you know, the government, if the private sector, and we have a lot of fallow land in Nepal, which I forgot to mention, no, a lot of fallow land that is not being used for agriculture, that is not currently being productive. So if the government and the private sector and agencies like FAO work together to unlock those, you know, lands and make these, you know, lands available for young farmers to, you know, start working in agriculture, and if these young farmers have easier access to the technology, the finance, capital, no, So
there's a huge potential of being
there's
self-reliant.
Great, yes,
and
there's
how you
great
see,
potential.
as
Great
you've been
potential.
working successfully globally, how you see in Nepal, if you're being able to adopt all these things that we have mentioned in this interview as well, the things you have mentioned, how you see the future of Nepal in terms of food security?
Yeah, the future of Nepal is bright if we all work together on these issues that I mentioned. And the reason why it's bright
is it very far future, bright future, or it's near?
It's a near future. It's a near future, and I wanted to also take the opportunity to commend the new government, because in the agriculture sector they have already come up with very concrete programs and policies to strengthen agriculture production. For example, they are coming up with this minimum price support for the staple crops, or timelines for payments to farmers, or market agriculture information systems, or strengthening the cold chain or the infrastructure at the local level. They're also promoting digital health cards and all these kinds of concrete initiatives to make business SMEs, MSMEs, and also agri-MSMEs more sustainable. So we now have kind of an environment where the government is emphasizing,
is very proactive.
Proactively looking at agriculture as a viable, productive economic sector rather than a subsistence sector. So that's one. And then the fact that you have young people, very active population, and if they stay in Nepal, that will be a great, engine. Asset, and but the young people, I think they need to understand and recognize that this is a great opportunity, that they're sitting on a great opportunity.
That was
in their own country.
My last question for you as well. We are almost at the end of our interview. Especially your last message to young viewers who are watching us, who who have not seen Nepal's agriculture field as a promising future. They don't see it as a promising future. What would be your particular message for these young viewers?
Yeah, so the message is, please look at agriculture as your future. And if you don't know where to start, please contact us. As I mentioned, we have the World Food Forum Nepal chapter network. We have representation in all provinces, many also at the local level. We have provincial youth teams, we have local youth teams. So we have a group of young people who are trying to engage and empower and capacitate, young people to look at agriculture as their future, as a very, very productive, bright future. So that's the message that I want to give.
And in this short span of time, you gave us very insightful important highlights about what is happening in the context of Nepal and globally as well. We are very grateful that you were able to give us your time in this morning. Thank you so much for coming into our show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And with this, we are almost at end of our show. कन्भर्सेसनको एन्डलाई कसरी लिने भनेर भन्दाखेरि रिफ्लेक्ट गर्ने नेपालमा नयाँ सरकारले प्रयास एकदमै गरिरहेको छ हामीले नेपाललाई एग्रिकल्चर डिकेड भनेर त भन्छौं तर यसलाई कसरी बनाउने भन्ने इन्डिकेटर्समा काम गरिरहेका धेरै अर्गनाइजेसन धेरै व्यक्तिहरू हुन्छ त्यसै एफओ ले पनि प्रयास गरिरहेको छ कि यो ग्यापलाई हामीले कसरी फिल गर्ने हो नेपाललाई एग्रिकल्चर कन्ट्री भनेर मात्रै हुँदैन त्यसलाई एग्रिकल्चरली थ्राइभिङ बनाउनको लागि पनि हरेकको भूमिका कति महत्त्वपूर्ण हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा हामीले यो कन्भर्सेसनबाट पक्कै पनि रिफ्लेक्ट गर्न सक्छौं र यस्तै कन्भर्सेसन्सहरु सुन्नको लागि साथ दिनको लागि र हजुरहरुलाई चाहिँ अझै के कुराहरुमा कुराकानी भइदै हुन्थ्यो यसको बारेमा इन्फर्मेसन्सहरु चाहिन्छ भन्ने पनि छ भने प्लिज कमेन्ट गर्नु होला प्लिज हामीलाई रिच आउट पनि गर्नु होला र यो सँगसँगै भने अब भने गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट बिदा लिने समय भइसकेको छ हामीलाई साथ दिदै गर्नु होला हेर्दै गर्नु होला कान्तिपुर टेलिभिजन अहिले भने बिदा दिनु होला तपाईको दिन शुभ रहोस् धन्यवाद नमस्ते